Imagine waking up tomorrow and your lawnmower had made you a millionaire. Sounds ridiculous, right? But for a handful of guys across America, that's not a joke. That's Tuesday. While most people see a lawn and think chores, these 5 creators looked at the same thing and saw an empire. And the numbers they're pulling in would make most corporate executives do a double take. We're not talking about a little side hustle money here. We're talking channels with millions of subscribers, brand deals with major equipment companies, and monthly earnings that rival what most people make in a year. One of them built an entire fertilizer brand off the back of his audience. Another refuses every sponsorship on principle and still nearly hit $1 million in net worth. And the guy sitting at the very top of this list? He launched his channel in 2020 and now has over 3 million subscribers. 5 years. That's all it took. These aren't celebrities. They aren't tech geniuses or trust fund kids. They're lawn guys with cameras who figured something out that most people never do. This is the top 5 highest earning lawn care channels on YouTube. And the numbers don't lie. Back in 2016, Ryan Knorr had no crew, no equipment budget, and no audience. He sat down with his cell phone, pointed it at his lawn, and started filming. That's it. That was the whole plan. No production team, no script, no strategy session with a marketing consultant. Just a guy who genuinely loved lawn care and figured someone else out there might feel the same way. Turns out a lot of people did. What followed was something nobody saw coming. Over 34 million views and a subscriber base pushing 337,000 people who tune in just to watch him talk about grass. That's not an accident. Ryan built his audience the slow way, the real way, by showing up consistently and treating every video like it mattered. He doesn't rush through explanations. He doesn't oversimplify things to the point of being useless. He talks to his audience the way a knowledgeable neighbor would, like someone who actually wants you to understand, not just someone who wants the view count. That approach paid off in ways that go far beyond YouTube. Ryan eventually launched his own podcast, Turfcast, pulling his most dedicated followers off the platform entirely and building a community that doesn't depend on an algorithm to stay connected. That kind of move separates the creators who treat this like a hobby from the ones who treat it like a business. Ryan clearly belongs in the second category. On the money side, third-party estimator tools put his net worth in the neighborhood of $975,000, built from a combination of YouTube ad revenue, affiliate marketing, brand sponsorships, and merchandise sales. None of those income streams happened overnight. Each one was layered on top of the last as the channel grew, creating a financial foundation that doesn't crumble the moment a video underperforms. That's the kind of diversification most creators talk about, but never actually pull off. What makes Ryan's story worth paying attention to isn't just the income, it's the trajectory. Starting with nothing but a phone and a passion for turf, he quietly built something that most full-time content creators grind for years without ever reaching. No viral moment launched him. No controversy put him on the map. He just kept showing up, kept teaching, and kept growing, one video at a time. And if that kind of slow burn can generate nearly $1 million in net worth, just wait until you see what the channels above him are doing with it. While most of the names on this list are solo creators who built their channels around a single personality, Blades of Grass took a different approach entirely, and it's been working since 2011. That's not a typo. When Ryan Knorr was still years away from picking up a camera and Spencer Bridgman was barely a teenager, Blades of Grass was already publishing lawn care content on YouTube. That kind of longevity in a niche this competitive doesn't happen by accident. It happens because someone figured out early what their audience actually needed and never stopped delivering it. Based out of Savannah, Georgia, the channel built its reputation by zeroing in on something the bigger DIY channels from northern states couldn't credibly touch: southern grass varieties. Bermuda, zoysia, St. Augustine. The warm season turf types that behave completely differently from the cool season grasses dominating most lawn care content at the time. That regional specificity created a loyal audience that felt genuinely served rather than just vaguely entertained. When you're the channel that actually understands your viewer's climate, your viewer sticks around. The result of 14+ years of consistent publishing? Over 511,000 subscribers and more than 17 million views across a library that keeps compounding in value every single month. That's the thing about evergreen content in a niche like lawn care. A video about overseeding a Bermuda lawn doesn't expire. Someone searching that topic in 2025 will find a Blades of Grass video from 2014 and watch the whole thing. Old content keeps generating new revenue, and channels with deep libraries have a financial advantage that newer creators simply can't replicate overnight. The channel structure reflects that long-term thinking. Pre-organized playlists, equipment-specific content, and a teaching style built for both the weekend homeowner and the working professional. It doesn't chase trending topics or manufacture drama to boost engagement. It never needed to. When you've been publishing quality content for over a decade, the algorithm starts working for you rather than against you. Most creators burn out chasing growth. Blades of Grass chose consistency over virality, and the compounding effect of that decision has turned into a subscriber count and view total that newer channels are still years away from matching. In a space full of people sprinting, they chose to walk, and somehow ended up further ahead. But if Blades of Grass represents what patience can build, the next creator on this list is proof of what pure expertise and a 14-year head start can turn into. Alan Hain didn't wake up one day and decide to become a YouTube influencer. The idea would have probably made him laugh. He started mowing lawns at age 14 in St. Petersburg, Florida, charging $8 a yard and using the money to take his girlfriend to the movies. It was a summer hustle, nothing more. But something about the work stuck with him in a way that most teenage jobs don't. Years later, after a 4-year stint in the U.S. Air Force as a photojournalist and a long run inside the professional industry, including a significant stretch with True Green, one of the largest lawn service companies in the world, Alan launched his YouTube channel in 2009 as a hobby. He had no roadmap, no monetization strategy, just a genuine love for turf and a camera pointed at his yard. What happened over the next 15 years turned that hobby into something nobody could have predicted. Today, the Lawncare nut sits at over 552,000 subscribers with more than 55 million total views. Numbers that put him firmly in the conversation as one of the most watched lawn care educators on the entire platform. And unlike channels built on dramatic transformations or viral moments, Alan's audience grew almost entirely on the strength of knowledge. People came because he actually knew what he was talking about. They stayed because he made it entertaining. But the YouTube channel is only part of the story. What Alan built around it is where things get genuinely impressive. His fertilizer brand, Yard Mastery, evolved into a full direct-to-consumer product line, soil testing kits, specialized granular fertilizers, a mobile app that tells homeowners exactly what to apply and when, and online courses that walk complete beginners through the entire process from scratch. The YouTube channel didn't just generate ad revenue. It became a marketing engine powerful enough to launch an entire product ecosystem that operates independently of any single video's performance. Third-party analysts estimate the channel's net worth somewhere between $100,000 and $250,000. But that figure doesn't account for the Yard Mastery business running alongside it. The real number is almost certainly higher, and Alan has been deliberately tight-lipped about the full picture. What's clear is that he turned a hobby channel into a brand, and a brand into a business that now reaches hundreds of thousands of homeowners across the country every single season. Not bad for a guy who started with a push mower and a girlfriend who liked movies. Kevin Hansen's story doesn't start with a camera or a content strategy. It starts with an ice storm, $100, and a chainsaw. After losing his job with a baby on the way, Kevin used his last bit of money to buy that chainsaw and started cutting storm-damaged trees around Tulsa, Oklahoma, just to keep the lights on. When the storm work dried up, he started noticing lawn care guys everywhere he drove and made a decision that would quietly change the entire trajectory of his life. He figured he could do it too. So he did. He launched his YouTube channel in 2018 with early videos he now openly admits were rough around the edges. The production quality was raw, the audience was tiny, and for a long stretch it looked like just another channel that would fade out after a few months. But Kevin kept showing up. He kept filming. And somewhere along the way, something shifted. The audience didn't just grow, it connected. People weren't just watching lawn care tips. They were watching a man rebuild his life 1 yard at a time, and that kind of authenticity is impossible to manufacture. Today, Lawn Care Juggernaut sits at roughly 754,000 subscribers on his main channel alone. His second channel, The Boring Channel, pushes the combined total toward nearly 1 million, making Kevin one of the most followed lawn care creators on the platform when you count both properties together. But what truly separates him from everyone else on this list isn't the subscriber count. It's the philosophy behind the whole operation. Kevin doesn't use affiliate links. He doesn't take brand sponsorships. In a space where almost every creator is monetizing every possible inch of their audience's attention, Kevin has deliberately left money on the table because it doesn't align with what he set out to do. His income comes almost entirely from YouTube ad revenue, estimated at around $6,500 per month. And every dollar of it goes right back into his mission. He travels across the United States mowing lawns for free, targeting overgrown properties owned by the elderly, the disabled, and people going through the kind of hardship he once lived himself. The whole operation is funded by the ads viewers watch without even thinking about it. His estimated net worth sits around $950,000. Almost a millionaire, built entirely on consistency, community, and a complete refusal to compromise the thing that made people care in the first place. That's a rare thing in this business, and it's even rarer at this level. Spencer Bridgman launched his channel in February 2020. 5 years later, he's sitting at over 3.1 million subscribers, making SB Mowing the most subscribed dedicated lawn care channel on YouTube by a margin that isn't even close. To put that into perspective, every other creator on this list has spent between 7 and 15 years building their audience. Spencer did what took them a decade in roughly a fifth of the time. And he did it by doing something so simple, it almost sounds made up. He knocked on doors. Spencer started by walking through neighborhoods in Wichita, Kansas, looking for overgrown lawns and homeowners who couldn't keep up with them. He'd knock, offer to mow for free, and film the whole thing. No elaborate setup, no editing tricks, just a mower, a camera, and a genuine willingness to help strangers. The before and after transformations were visually irresistible from the very first video, the kind of content that makes people stop scrolling and watch all the way through. But what kept them coming back wasn't just the satisfying footage of tall grass getting cut down to size. It was the stories behind the yards. Elderly homeowners who hadn't been able to keep up for years. Families going through rough patches. Veterans, single parents, people who needed help and didn't know where to ask. Spencer gave the lawn care niche something it had never really had before. An emotional core that hit harder than any tutorial ever could. The brands noticed almost immediately. Sponsorship deals with companies like Hustler Mowers and Maruyama started coming in, providing professional-grade equipment while adding a meaningful revenue stream on top of his already growing ad income. Merchandise, Patreon support, and affiliate links rounded out a business model that now generates an estimated $50,000 per month from YouTube ad revenue alone. before any of those additional streams are factored in. For a channel that didn't exist 6 years ago, those numbers are almost difficult to process. What makes Spencer's story hit differently than the others on this list is the timeline. Ryan Knorr grounded out for years before the money followed. Alan Haynes spent 15 years building towards something most creators never reach. Kevin Hansen nearly went broke before the channel saved him. Spencer Bridgman went from knocking on strangers' doors to 3 million subscribers and an estimated $50,000 a month, and he's still in his 20s. The grass, it turns out, really is greener on the YouTube side. 5 creators, 1 niche, and a combined following that numbers in the millions. When you line these channels up side by side, a pattern starts to emerge that has nothing to do with lawn care and everything to do with what actually builds an audience in the digital age. None of them started with money. None of them had connections in the media industry or a viral moment that handed them an audience overnight. Ryan Knorr filmed his lawn on a cell phone. Alan Haynes started a hobby channel after decades in the professional industry with zero expectation of it becoming a business. Kevin Hansen used his last $100 just to survive. Blades of grass showed up quietly and consistently for over a decade while nobody was paying attention. And Spencer Bridgman knocked on strangers' doors with a mower and a camera, and somehow turned that into 3 million subscribers before most creators hit their first 100,000. The formula isn't complicated, it's just rare. Show up consistently. Be genuinely useful or genuinely moving, preferably both. Build something real instead of chasing something fast. Every single creator on this list followed that same unwritten playbook, and every single one of them ended up somewhere most content creators never reach. So the question worth sitting with after watching this isn't about lawn care. It's about whatever you're actually good at. Because if 5 guys turned grass into a multi-million-dollar media business, the only real question left is, what's your version of the mower?